everybody! Welcome back to another video. Today, this is a big one. I thought, seeing as how we're pretty much at the end of January, I thought for the final video of January, depending on how long it takes for us to beat Puppy Playtime Chapter 4, we should rank all of the stories of Fazbear Frights. Just an overview just to see how they all were. Now, there's going to be some certain things that's going to happen in this tier list. First of all, I am going to be ranking the epilogues as a whole. I'm not going to do them all separately because, honestly, to me, it's just too much. And I really would just want to focus on the main stories, and the epilogues will be like the final ranking. So let's just get onto this with Into the Pit. Now, this is going to be put in epic story because it's the original. It was the first, and it came off so strong. With its wackiness, but not too wackiness. How it felt grounded, but also not grounded at the same time. It's like a balance. That's also why it fitted perfectly to be put into a game. Also, it's a great character, along with Pit Bonnie, probably one of my favorite animatronics. It's just a smooth, small, simple story with a crazy twist. So, yeah, that's Into the Pit. Now let's move on to the next story, which is To Be Beautiful. And I'm gonna put this at, I'll put this at good. You know, it's not as intense as Into the Pit, but it's a really creepy story about an animatronic basically slowly taking over you and pretty much swapping bodies. And the girl turning into junk, Sarah, was very creepy and very distorted and such. But oh no, it's just a simple story that was good for what it was, and plus it also greatly sets up the as like a villain in for the future. Even though we didn't knew she would actually become a big bad. Moving on to Count the Way. This is also an epic story, mainly just because of Funtime Freddy, but also because of how dark it is. You know, how it's about a girl wanting death, but when it actually is coming for her, she actually doesn't want to die. And it's all about Funtime Freddy slowly trying to, torture her with this possibility of death while we flash back and forth. It is pretty long, but then again, story needs to be the story. So if it needs to be long, it needs to be long. So that's why I put it in Count the Ways. Fetch, I'm gonna put this at great. You know, it's almost as good as Into the Pit, and I'm excited to see what you're gonna do with the video game version of it. But it's pretty much a dog who listens to you by your phone, and it's very creepy with a very insane plot twist at the end where Fetch ends up fetching him someone he likes, which is very dark. And I'm honestly interested to see how's that gonna play out in the game if we're actually ever able to save her. But all in all, it's a great story with a cool new character. Lowly Freddy is also a great story. But then again, I feel like this is probably because of the song. And I'm going to try my best to not get the song into this because I'm mainly going to be ranking these first 6 stories very high. But then the rest of them are probably going to be a little bit lower, probably because of the song. So I'm going to try and not let the song, make these books biased. But Lonely Freddy is a good story, but then again, it's just To Be Beautiful again, where you see a little Freddy toy slowly possess someone. I did like how it was Freddy, because, well, it's called Five Nights at Freddy's, and usually you would want Freddy to be, the main star. So I'm glad they introduced us a new creepy type of Freddy into the franchise. Out of Stock, I really love this story. Oh, it's another action-packed story like Into the Pit, where it's just non-stop, just trying to avoid Plus Trap throughout the whole thing. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I really have nothing much else to say. Maybe because the song doesn't actually cuts a lot of things from the story. For example, during those chase sequence, you might notice already, but Oscar's not by himself. He's with other people, but of course, because of reasons, they had to only use one. Same thing with the Fetch story, but I can't wait to see how they interact with each other in the Fetch book. Moving on to that, we have 1:35 a.m. I'm gonna put this at a good story. You know, doesn't have too much going for it, but it does have a creepy idea of how a certain animatronic or doll case will force you to wake up at a certain time, even if you're still awake. It'll just give you that moment of, oh, you just waked up. And it does end very creepy. In fact, even more creepy, since how I've seen some even darker stories of a woman getting stuck in a vent for her entire life. Now think about that. That reminds me of that one recent story I read in English class. You know, we're gonna ignore that and put this in here. Room for one more. This is a great story as well, maybe because of how it brought us back to Sis location in a fun way. You know, having the explanations for why the mini readers were crawling randomly in the fourth night because they were trying to get inside you. And it also explored more of the details of Sis location and how crazy the place is, or how awful the work environment is. The new kid, I don't know why, but I just love this story. Not sure what makes me love this story so much, but it is a very good story of you know, a couple of kids hanging out with a new kid, but goes so wrong because the new kid ends up getting spring locked. Very crazy story, but it was a fun one, and kind of sad how we will never get a song about this. But hey, it is what it is. Or maybe there is a song about it. I think there is a song about it. I don't remember. I think there is a song about it, but I'm not entirely sure. But maybe sometime in the future we'll get a song with an SFM cutscene around it, but I'm not entirely sure. Step Closer. Oh, I really like this one. Maybe because it focused on Foxy, one of the main characters. I always like it when a story focuses on the main character or some of the main characters. So maybe that's why I like the new kid so much, because it focused on It actually did not focus on Golden Freddy. It focused on a Fazbear suit. Even though most awkward I've seen focuses on Golden Freddy, it's actually Fazbear. This one focuses on a classic Foxy, and it has a very, very creepy curse of Foxy wanting someone to become a pirate, but they must lose their iron armor. And a very sad twist at the end. But a very good opening, though. Like, the opening was very intense. It kind of reminds me of the Silver Eyes opening, somewhat. Dance with Me. It's an okay story. It's okay. You know? Not exactly, you know, big of a insane story. I did like the glasses, though. They kind of like VR headsets in a way, and kind of might explain the VR thingies and how 1 and 2 or not. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, it's a cool, simple story about Ballora and Circus Baby's Pizza World. Coming Home is also an okay story. I did like how it explained some things about the amateurs about why, you know, they always are acting confused throughout the entire story. Also did like how we got a bit of Susie's backstory, if this even is the same Susie from the FNAF games, which I highly doubt it is. And plus it focuses on an OG character, which is Chica, so that's always a plus. Bunny Call. I also love this story, especially now knowing what this is actually based off of, because if you don't know, if you watched the recent Scott Coffin interview, Scott Coffin actually based his story of a trip he had during camp where basically it's the same thing, but instead of a bunny call, it's a panda call. And how he was just like the character here, he was also, you know, worried about what he had just done about sending his kids up with this surprise call. But of course in there, you know, it wasn't actually horror, you know. The clowns came in and like, and Scott was like, never mind, I don't want this. But in here, you know, it's about a bunny who's like, no, I'm gonna go scare them and such. Even though the icon is kind of misleading because Ralpho doesn't actually look like that. He looks apparently very more intense. In the flesh, it's I mean, I don't know. I wasn't that weirded out about it like most others. Yeah, the baby Springtrap is weird. But, you know, I did like the idea of a VR game. Plus, it explained that that glitched Springtrap that we saw in the Freddy files. Even though I personally think that was just to represent Glitch Trap instead of something else. But overall, yeah, not a too intense story. The Man in the Rune Trove Area. This is also... Actually, no, I'm going to put this in great because this, I don't know, there's some weird things about it. First of all, you know, Andrew and how it complicates what UCN could possibly be, where it's just Andrew tampering with Afton's head, but I don't know. I mean, it is kind of a creepy story of how, I don't know, hospital doctors are trying to try to end this man's life, but they can't because Andrew's just prevented it. I wonder if this ever happened in one of the doctor shows. Probably not, because they're all non-fiction, and these are all fiction. Anyways, Blackbird. I actually really like this story as well, you know. Fun, you know, creepy twist thing. And also it's about them trying to make a movie, and it was kind of creepy how, I don't know, this Blackbird just haunts him. Though I did also like how this is also another thing based on Scott Coffin, where it's apparently his paralysis demon, and he was like, I have to put this in the story, and that's probably why Blackbird came in. You know, come to think of it, if it wasn't for Blackbird, you know, existing, we probably wouldn't gotten these 6 other books. Or maybe we would have, but I don't know. Because originally this was supposed to be 5, but then Scott decided to expand it to like 6 more. So one of these things, the reason why we got more stories. That may just be The Real Jake. It's a very good story as well, you know, and a very sad one, you know. Showing the origins of Jake and what happened to him. Very sad, especially, I think it got really sad when his dad actually died and he didn't even know it. God, very sad stuff. Anyways, Hide and Seek. I like this story as well. Especially how it actually gave Shadow Bonnie lots of time to shine, even though Shadow Freddy still needs more time to shine. But anyways, I liked how they chose Shadow Bonnie as like the main enemy for this one. Made him some type of like shadow demon stalking him. Though the ending was very sad, how even though his brother apologized to him, he still wanted to try and beat it and ended up killing himself in the process. The Cliffs. You know, it's a good story. And I did like how it focused on Freddy again, though this time it was a plush bear that, I don't know, seemed innocent even though it was saying some weird stuff. But hey, I did like how it ended off good at the end. Or did it? I'm not entirely sure if it did end off good at the end. The Breaking Wheel. Oh god, this is the most intense one and the most graphic one. Oh god, I'm not ready to see this in the games. I'm kind of hoping I don't see this in the game. So I did like how it's based off something from old times, but it has its own modern twist where it's basically a mangled up person. All because it could... Oh god, it's kind of hard to imagine it. Yeah, it's some freaky stuff. It's very freaky. You know what's even creepier? There's actually... Someone actually decided to make a small live action video of this. It's horrifying. I'm not even joking. A live action Breaking the Wheel short video actually exists somewhere, and it's horrifying. Very horrifying. He told me everything. Okay, it's not a bad story. And it's actually somewhat entertaining. But then again, the concept of a pink goo possibly existing is creepy. So I'm going to put it in okay for now. Okay. Gumdrop Angel. This one's also horrifying of the pink thingies. So I don't know. This one just horrified me. So I'm going to put this at okay because... I don't know. It's like he told me everything. It's like, I don't know. It's like he told me everything set up Gumdrop Angel because they're both about pink beings that for some reason exist. It's creepy. Oh god. Sergio's Lucky Day. Balloon Boy. Oh, this one was freaky. Oh, this one also terrified me because of how Sergio was just convincing this man to cut off his entire face. So I'm going to put this in good because, you know, the Lucky Boy was entertaining. Oh my god, what we found. Oh, this one was nice, you know. FNAF 3 style story. Yeah, of course it has to go up there. plus with Springtrap, and finally explained Scrap Chica existence being a hallucination, I guess, ish. Not entirely sure. Puppet Carver. Oh, I love this one. I really love this one. Mainly because of how, I don't know. I mean, I think it's because it reminded me of the Scrooge story, even though there's a high chance that I forgot his name, but Jack, was it? I don't know. Could be a Fazgoo creature, and yeah, that's gonna terrify me. But then again, the Fazgoo is barely there in it, so I give it a pass. Oh, jump for tickets! I would put this at epic, but then again, it doesn't actually answer if Ennard is Coils, because we've seen actual artwork, so I'm gonna put it at grade. But then again, for a while, it was cool that we saw what we thought was fixed Ennard, or them Coils. Because now, I always now will sometimes call Ennard Coils, no matter what. But damn, the ending though. Oh, I can still imagine it. Because if you don't know what the ending is, it's kind of horrifying. I'm not sure if I actually have it correct, but I think I do. But Carlton is inside the arcade maze, or at least underneath it. And then when kids come in and jump, you know, it like slowly squishes him or something. Ooh. Oh, Pizza Kid. Oh, I really enjoyed this one. I think it's just because of Chef Freddy. I don't know. But also, I did like the... Also kind of scary how the girl was imagining some creepy things happened to her. Like, I don't know, like how she thought she and the others ate her friend, where in reality she was just pulling a prank, and it went off so wrong that she ended up getting herself killed. Very freaky stuff. Friendly Face! I really like this story about how he tries to bring his cat back to life, but it ended up giving him a realistic face. Still don't understand how that works at all, but you know, it's a nice small story of a freaky cat face thing. Plus, this thing is somewhat iconic now, or was until, you know, Tales of the Pizzaplex. Sea Bonnies. I'm gonna put this at great. You know, I did like how it was a story about parasites, but I think the reason why I liked it because I always wanted to see what would a sea animatronic look like, and this was technically the first time we've ever seen one, which was Sea Bonnie. Of course, nowadays we now have multiple sea animatronics in the FNAF universe, but this was the first one, and it was a sea version of a character. And yeah, I think I enjoyed it, even though I personally would have loved to see an actual sea animatronic. You know, sea little creatures is fine, but fine by me. Together Forever, you know, this was a good story, you know, though, to be honest, it is kind of forgetful, especially the animatronic Rosie Porkchop. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen an animatronic model of it yet. But then again, the ending is kind of freaky, how it's basically two people get spring-locked in grotesque ways. God damn, the artwork that is seen in Darko's video. Freaky stuff. Very freaky stuff. Oh god. Prankster! Yeah, this is a good story. I mean, you know, it's pretty small, but then again, it is very eventful-ish. I mean, I'm still not sure what even happens in this story. If it was actually a prank, or if was it actually, I don't know, creepy stuff. I don't know. This one was confusing. And inside didn't really answer that much stuff about, you know, help wanted and stuff. But, you know, it was still a fun little story. Kids at Play. Oh, God, the ending. Well, I always talk about the ending because that's what we... Well, the important thing about this is that every time now I see that Kids at Play sound, I'm not horrified of it because of what it is. Because we don't know in the end. The main character molts into the sign in a very grotesque way, you know, like all his organs just fell off, and it's in a slow grotesque way and just molts into the sign. It's why I'm horrified every time I see those signs, because like, even though the story is fiction, you know, the objects that is basically the main character of it is real. Like, these signs actually exist, and they now terrify me every time. Find Player 2. It's a good story, though honestly I did kind of wish for being the final story. It was about Freddy. Instead, it was the main villain was mummified version of someone, which is still very creepy. But then again, then when he felt finale material in my opinion, so that's probably why I have it good and such. Oh, Felix the Shark. Oh, this is a great story. You know, nothing too insane, even though it was about a shark animatronic, which was insane. Though I did like the idea of them trying to find a abandoned the abandoned aquarium that apparently existed back in the day with this animatronic. Well, kind of crazy for him for wanting to go actually inside the tank. But anyway, it's a scoop. Oh, this is such a great story. Made just because of how it's an ARG story. Plus, it's made by it's one of the stories that's written by Scott Cawthon. So yeah, it's a very nice, simple ARG-like journey of kind of represent how ARGs work and such. So yeah, I really enjoyed that much. Even though the character Sideshow doesn't really have that much involvement, I still wonder why they didn't decide to make Carney Sideshow. That would have been such a cool reference. And now the final word that says second to last, You're the Band. I also really like this, even though I wished Freddy was the main villain. He kind of was, but it was just a mask. And even the puppet being the main villain, which it was just fine. Even though this one is kind of confusing how it has Mike Schmidt as the main character, but then again, we don't exactly know what happens after FNAF 1. Well, at least for Mike Schmidt that it is, because technically, well, it seems like he just disappears for like a few years until he comes back in FNAF 3. At least that's what it seems like. Now for the epilogues as a whole. I'd say, as a whole, they are a great story. Because if I put those separately, there would be lots of opinions. So I'm just going to keep it like, it's an epic story altogether, because it connects all the story, well, not all of them, but most of the stories in fun ways, like Into the Pit, being a huge relevance. To Be Beautiful, with the main villain Eleanor. Count the Ways in the end, where Millie finally gets her happy ending. Fetch and the Elado and the Simon and all that stuff, all of them connecting. Together it's all a great fun journey and such. And anyways, that is it for the tier list. Yep. I hope you enjoyed this tier list. Next month, probably Tales from the Pizzaplex. Yeah, I think I'll do a Tales from the Pizzaplex tier list. But anyways, that is all. I hope you enjoy. If this video, give a like, consider subscribe for more content edits, and I'll see you next time in February. Bye, everybody.